like just boom, 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 just through the gears. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the all-new Toyota Supra. First and foremost though, a huge shout out and thank you to James that works here at the Larry H. Miller Chevy in Provo for giving me some time with his personal Supra. He just picked this up and I'm super excited for him and obviously very appreciative that he'd give me some time with his car. Now the way that you guys can pay him back is by coming to the Larry H. Miller Chevy here in Provo and purchasing some cars. I'll include a link to their website in the description down below so you can browse their current inventory. They actually have a Silverado ZR2 for sale right now, so they've got some cool vehicles. On a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a turbocharged 3-liter inline-6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. You can now also get a 6-speed manual for the 2023 model year. Power outputs are 382 horsepower and then 368 pound-feet of torque, with fuel economy being 22 around town and then 30 on the highway. And I know that like half the engine was in shadow, so here's what the rest of that engine cover looks like. Now let's go over the front end of the Supra, and first off, this one's finished in Absolute Zero, which is my favorite color on the new Supra. When I bought mine, sadly the only color available was black, but if I could have gotten a white one like this, I definitely would have. So we still have obviously all of the fake vents that this car is kind of known for. This down here is actually some real vent action. But another cool thing here with the Supra is we've got these crazy headlights. So notice you've got like the little red accent pieces there inside of the light, and then we have the gigantic daytime running light, which just looks absolutely fantastic. And then I love how aggressive the front splitter is here on the Supra. Toyota logo there, front and center. And yeah, I mean, still to this day, it's such a cool looking car. Coming around the side here, our tire and wheel setup is 255/35/19 in the front and then 275/35/19 in the rear. And then notice here with the wheel design, you've got two different colors on the spokes, which really works with, again, this particular color combination with the white. And then we've got our red Supra brake caliper right there. And look at the size of these rotors. This is actually a pretty lightweight car, but still, you've got tons of braking power. Now, taking a few steps back, you can see the side skirt here, and then I love the body lines on the side, and then of course another fake vent, but carbon fiber with the mirror caps. And then I love how the pillars are blacked out again, creates really nice contrast. And then we have the massive gas cap cover. The new Nissan Z has the same exact thing. I don't know what it is with these cars, but the side profile on the Supra, again, it is just so beautiful. Here's the key fob for the Supra. You got the Toyota logo there on the back. Obviously it's a BMW key fob, but it looks really cool. Now, actually popping open the hatch, and yes, this is technically a hatchback, we have a cargo cover here, and we have, of course, Supra floor covering. Well, I shouldn't say floor covering, trunk covering, right? But notice it's connected to the passenger area, so you can actually like reach through and grab things if you're in the passenger area. But overall, the opening's not massive, but the storage space is actually pretty dang practical overall. And then when you are done, if you're short, they actually give you these little handles here to grab. But if you are normal height, then you can just grab the top of the ducktail and then pop it down. Now, finishing things up with the rest of the rear. First off, you guys heard me say ducktail. It's kind of like in that shape in terms of the rear. It's not technically a spoiler because it's part of the body work. So yeah, interesting. Now, I love the taillights. This is something that's really cool with the Supra. Again, super distinctive, or I got to make the Supra joke at least once. It's Supra distinctive. Ha, ha, ha. Anyways, you got the Supra logo right there. GR badge down below. Parking sensors here on the rear, and then I love how the exhaust tips look, and then also the reverse light, how it looks like a rain light to kind of pay homage to the racing heritage of Toyota, I guess, back in the day. But anyways, there's the rest of the rear. Now here's the door panel in the back. Notice with the padding right here, and then you got the stitching that goes across, and then you guys are gonna notice a lot of BMW elements inside the Supra here. You've got your mirror adjustments. The mirrors do power fold in, and they also have blind spot monitoring. And then here are the seats with the Supra. You've got really nice stitching all throughout the seats. Memory seat functions are on the side, and the power adjustments as well. It says Toyota Supra right here. And actually, we got the gross vehicle weight rating here. So 4,001 pounds is the gross vehicle weight rating. Payload is 5797, so we'll just round up to about 600. So that means this car, as equipped, weighs about 3,400 pounds, which is like 300 pounds less than a new Nissan Z, just saying. Pedal layout, which, again, normal BMW pedals, and same thing here with the light controls. And let's pop in. So here's the steering wheel in the Supra. Really nice leather trim all around. You got the contrasted stitching on the center portion. You've got controls for like phone controls, for example. This does actually have adaptive cruise control. Paddle shifters here on the back for that 8-speed automatic. And then you have your turn signal stock, windshield wiper stock, and there's the steering wheel. Now here's the center gauge cluster. I think it looks really cool overall. My favorite part is with the fuel gauge and with the temperature gauge there on the other side, how they have bars. That's definitely fun. Now when you pop into sport mode, it just adds that little like red line there at the top, and it does open up the valves with the exhaust, so it's a little bit louder. And well, that's the gauge cluster. So here is the center infotainment screen. First off, if we pop it into reverse, we've got a backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel, and then notice you've got the parking sensors front and rear. As for the infotainment system itself, this is BMW's older infotainment system, so response time on it's still fantastic, still easy to use, and that's pretty good fuel economy for a car that's still in its break-in period. That's pretty incredible. But it has stuff like where you can hover over the preset buttons. I'll show that to you guys down below. But overall, it's easy enough to use, and it does have wireless Apple CarPlay. So here are the preset buttons. So again, you just hover your finger over and it'll go through the different presets. Dual zone climate, we do have heated seats here. And then we've got a wireless phone charging pad and then a little USB. And then we have our shifter for that 8-speed automatic transmission. And then notice there's carbon fiber all around. We got a parking brake here, sport mode, auto stop start to turn that on or off. And then for your parking sensors, and then the safety system, and then stability control. And then this is the basically analog control for the infotainment system, so you can use this dial to control if you don't want to use a touchscreen function. Now if you do get the manual, some of this stuff is kind of moved around to accommodate for the fact that this car wasn't originally meant to have a manual transmission, and so to fit the shifter, they kind of basically make this a little bit bigger and move things around. No, we don't have an official center console, we just have some cup holders basically, but at least the trim around it's nice. And then you've got more storage space behind that, and then just normal glove box, and then notice here with the padding, and then you guys can see with the trim that goes across, and then more padding and stitching on the dash. And then you have this like double bubble design here on the roof, which kind of pays homage, I guess, to the Dodge Viper. Just kidding, it just looks like the Dodge Viper roof, but it gives you tons of headroom inside the Supra. So here is our window sticker for the Supra, and I think it's pretty interesting that this has Brembo brakes, but they don't advertise it. Most manufacturers will advertise they have Brembo brakes, but they put Supra on it instead, which is kind of interesting. But anyways, this is the premium package 3.0, so it comes pretty much loaded up with everything as standard. There are some options you can add to it. The big thing right here, you guys can see some of the safety tech added to it. But there's your base price, $55,040, and then here's your total MSRP, $58,324. Obviously in today's market, that's probably not what this would end up selling for, because these are going for big premiums over MSRP still, which is pretty crazy. And then apparently the manual is going to be even more expensive than this. But anyways, let's take it out, see how it drives. So let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility of the hood. Hopefully you guys can now see the heads-up display. Both the mirrors, which do have blind spot monitoring. And then throughout the rest of the rear. And let's set off. So setting off here in the new Supra. And obviously it would be way more exciting if I was driving a manual, but any Supra in my opinion is exciting. But we will talk about the manual quite a bit in this video. And as soon as I'm able to get my hands on a manual Supra, which I'm hoping will be in the near future, we will obviously have a normal Ben Hardy review on that as well. But let's also talk about the automatic here. So first off, really smooth with the shifts. This 8-speed automatic is fantastic. Now I have driven the new Z quite a bit at this point, frankly, because Nissan did a really good job with getting pre-production cars out to journalists, and that 9-speed automatic in the Z's just isn't quite as smooth and crisp as the 8-speed here in the Supra. Like this, you can see with the manual shifts, is just like instantaneous in terms of the response time, which is exactly what you'd want from a an automatic transmission. So it just feels really good. And so you can see here, like just boom, 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 just through the gears, instantaneous. And so it's good. And you know, acceleration with this, super quick. If you guys want to see like crazy accelerations, I'll try to remember to include a link to my old videos with my Supra. This one obviously isn't fully broken in, so I don't want to like go and romp on someone's car before it's fully broken in. But if I forget to put that link in the description down below, just look up Ben Hardy Supra and those videos will pop up. But anyways, this 3 liter is the route to go. I've actually never driven the 4-cylinder Supra, but I mean, with how much this car weighs, it's not super heavy, but with how much this weighs, this amount of power is what this car needs. Now, let's talk about the manual transmission. So I think the manual transmission is going to be a ton of fun with the Supra, obviously, because you're going to be able to roll the gears yourself. But I do see some potential downsides. So first off, daily drivability, right? Automatics are always going to be slightly better than manual transmissions. And then aside from that, with how much power this car has, frankly, it's honestly better suited for an automatic in most cases, because it kind of almost has what I call the Hellcat effect with manuals, where a manual transmission's a ton of fun, but this like struggles to put down the power. Like it just, again, go watch my videos, it roasts the rear tires. And so with a manual, it it kind of adds to the drum a little bit, which for some of you could be really fun, right? So you just have to decide if that's kind of the driving you want. Whereas this, I feel like it's already enough to have to focus on controlling the car when you go full throttle in this with the tire spinning and all that, and then having to focus on shifting gears yourself. I don't know, just my take on that. But I definitely think that as like a weekend car, the manual is going to be great. But as a daily driver, like what James is using this for, and I think most people frankly are using the Supra as a daily driver, I think the automatic's going to make just a little bit more sense from a day-to-day perspective. But I want you guys to let me know what you think on that. And like I said, as soon as I'm able to do a full review with the manual, we will have that up. And with that being said, thanks James for letting me drive your car. Now that's gonna sum things up for our video on this Toyota Supra. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to James here at the Chevy in Provo for giving me some time with his Supra. Like I said, I'll include a link to the Chevy in Provo's website in the description down below. Definitely check them out. I'll see ya.